North Korea seemed to move toward the peaceful, solution after the talks with the U.S. delegates in Beijing. However, a couple of weeks after their agreement in exchanging the U.S. food aid and suspending the North Korean nuclear activity, the North Korea announced they would launch a satellite, and soon they vowed to strengthen their the nuclear deterrence. Which direction do you think North Korea is heading toward now, and what does North Korea try to gain by this kind of movement?
Well, I have never felt in a position to try to explain or predict what direction North Korea is moving in, and at this point in my activities, I am not following this on a day-to-day basis, and I know you're in good touch with those at the State Department and the White House and elsewhere, our embassy in Seoul, who are. What I would say is that clearly what North Korea did in attempting the launch in April was to violate UN Security Council resolutions and make it really impossible to go forward in a direction that we had hoped to go forward with when the agreement was made in February. We've tried to be very clear and consistent, and we will continue in what our expectations and our hopes are for North Korea. Why they've chosen to do it, I won't speculate, but I think it's a miscalculation on their part that deepens their isolation, that puts them at odds with not just the United States or South Korea, but China and the others in the region, and indeed the international community. And all of those who have spoken with one voice in saying we would like to see North Korea make a choice, the new leadership of North Korea, make a choice that will allow it to lessen its isolation and to improve the lives of its people, and that's by abandoning its nuclear missile programs and engaging in a constructive way with the international community.
But how are you reading recent press reports that Kim Jong-un might be more open to Western popular cultures compared to his father Kim Jong-il? For example, according to North Korea's official media, Kim Jong-un called on states national flag carrier to improve the quality of the service. Also, he watches probably you recently heard this, a concert where Disney characters took the stage.
Right. Well, it's so hard to know, what's in the minds of the leadership of North Korea or how these decisions are being made. Clearly I'd like to see a time when children and people in North Korea could enjoy a whole variety of soft power, whether it's from the United States or elsewhere, and enjoy more choices in their lives. But we have to respond to North Korea as to its actions, and that's what we'll do, as I said, in a very clear way. And if there are positive actions to respond to, we can respond in a positive way.
Then are you seeing any signs of or indication of reform on the part of North Korea's leadership?
I see what's out there. I personally, think we've seen some interesting reports, right, but I don't think we've seen the real evidence that people's lives are changing or that the policy is changing. But I hope that we will.
I would like to ask you whether Washington can pursue both denuclearization of North Korea and the improvement of North Korean human rights at the same time. If so, how?
Well, I think that's what diplomacy and that's what engagement is about. Yes, both are extremely important. I do think that just as if North Korea would take steps as it is agreed in principle to do, at least some time ago, to move away from nuclear weapons programs and to put its talents and resources towards things that would improve the lives of its people, I think along with that would help to support some improvement, if not immediately in human rights per se, at least in the livelihoods of people themselves. But I think as a matter of our own policy, we have to make very clear that yes, this is part of our concern about the region. It's a security concern. It's also a humanitarian concern. And it's a sense that I think you alluded to in one of your earlier questions, that really what a tragedy it is. What a tragedy that more than 60 years after the division of the Korean Peninsula, through no fault of the Korean people, after the sacrifices of so many, which did result in the extraordinary success of the Republic of Korea. And I would say the U.S. participation in the region as a whole has also contributed to the extraordinary successes in China, where hundreds of millions of people have been brought out of abject poverty. You know, there are great stories. The post-war rebuilding of Japan. All of these stories that we have seen in the last half of the 20th century. And here in the 21st century, as you alluded to earlier, we still have this place called North Korea, which has been out of step in so many ways. So it is a security issue, but it's also kind of a it's unfinished business of a kind of an historical scale. And I think we have to look at it kind of in its entirety in our determination to do everything we can to hasten the day when there'll be genuine peace. Yes, a denuclearized Korean peninsula, but genuine peace and genuine opportunity for the whole of the peninsula.